Okay, FB, Harbor Freight peeps. This is the last video of my build out on this particular Harbor Freight trailer. Once again, it's the Super Duty trailer that carries up to 1,720 pounds. And this is pretty much finished the way I want it. And I just wanted to show you guys a couple of items here. First on the paint, so you could see I painted the fence red, and it was just a happy accident. The swatch of red paint that I picked out ended up being almost a dead-on match for the color of the frame, so that came out really nice. And then the deck, similar story there. I actually expected it to be, from the swatch, I thought it was a dark gray in the store, and it actually turned out to be a really dark green, like British racing green, which I actually ended up liking. So I just said, forget it, I'll just use the paint I got, because once I bought it, I couldn't return it. It was mixed, so I put it down and it came out really nice. On the tongue electrical, I mentioned in the previous video what I was going to do there, and I just wanted to take a moment to show you how that came out. So I resolved this electrical issue on both running the wiring down the inside of the trailer tongue and jumping over this joint here for when you want to, pull out those pins and swing the trailer tongue down. I used a connector like this. I just cut the line, put a three connector marine plug in that joint, and I disconnected one just so you can see how it just pops out, and then you can swing your tongue down. You don't need to worry about bundling wire down there or any of that stuff. Let's see, so that's the tongue electrical. As you can see, I installed cargo anchors in the bed, 6 of them, which is a nice feature. What it does is allows you, if you're hauling something that's awkward, like a motorcycle or something that's tall that you don't want wobbling around, and you don't want to try securing it to the wall of the fence walls, and you want to suspend it in the middle, you can use those in-bed cargo anchors to do that. Plus, you don't have to try to tie it down from any point that's outside the bed to stress your tie rope or whatever it is you're using. Here's the corner hardware I used on the fence assembly. These locking hasps here, which work out really well. The bolts are a little long. I'm probably going to cap those. They're going to cap those or cut them. And just make sure that you configure them in this way so that you can lift this section of the fence up, because if you do them backwards, if you put them in backwards, you're gonna have to redo them, because you won't be able to pull that, you won't be able to pull the fence out of the fittings on the bottom. Another thing, I'll show you the ones in the back, which I used. Just these handle connectors. Very simple, very easy. Just pull it open like that, and your gate pulls right out, comes off. That over there, so you can see the back of this. And there you have it. Open back, very easy to get in there and pull out any load that you're trying to pull out. One thing I didn't do before I started this video was to put in the pin connectors for the retaining pins for the fence base. Goes in here. This is the pin with the cotter pin and the washer that I mentioned in an earlier video. You can actually put these in either way. If you want to be more tamper resistant, that is, if the trailer's going to be in a place where people are walking by and you're afraid someone's going to monkey with your cotter pins, you can just turn the bolt the other way so that the cotter pin's hidden. behind on the other side, and that'll make it a little more secure. Not perfect, but better than just having a cotter pin out there where anybody can grab it and fiddle around with your stuff. I added eye bolts. Let's see here. I added eye bolts. Nice big, what were they? 3/16? I don't know. I forget the exact size, but I just got a bolt that matched the hole, because those locations on the trailer have pre-drilled holes in them, and they're in a good spot for a securing bolt like that, which you can use for, you know, tying down cargo, or you can use it for tying down your tarps. I got 4 on it right now, but I may add 2 on each side right down here, which I thought was a really good idea, subbing out one of these bolts for an eye bolt right there, just so you have basically all 4 sides covered in case you need them. Let's see what else. Oh, the license plate bracket, yeah. The license plate bracket that comes with the trailer is plastic, and it's really funky. The plate just basically wiggles around, so I replaced that with a steel one. And I also got a silicone license plate frame, which has a nice backing on it that protects the back end of your license plate from any road debris and stuff coming up and dinging it or messing it up. Let's see, fence anchors. I put in 10 of these, 4 on each long side of the fence. 10 those swinging cargo anchors, and those are tie downs for your tarps. And I put them at the bottom, the very bottom of the fence assembly. So there's 4 on this side, 1 in the front, 1 in the back, because you got the eye bolts covering, you know, if you need extra ties on those corners. But I put them at the bottom so that if you want to use a larger tarp that covers all of the slats of your fence, so that there's no wind blowing through there or weather getting into your cargo. You can do that if you want, or if you don't mind using a shorter tarp, you don't care about that, you can just use a longer rope and cover the top with it. I've used it a bunch of times for that. It works out just perfect. And then the last thing, which I think is probably the most important, is I replaced the dust caps. The steel dust caps came with the trailer with bearing buddies. And for those of you who might not know what these things do, it's basically a replacement for your dust cap that allows you to use first off, it's got a grease fitting right out here in the center, so you can add grease a lot more easily. And I can see that when you it keeps your grease under pressure, 3 psi, and you fill it up. You fill up the whole wheel hub with grease, and the little spring mechanism in here tells you, as this one has, that the grease that I put in there has settled and it needs a bit more, because when the thing's at the proper level, it's totally filled with grease, this little plate, this little disc that's pushed in by a spring will move a little bit to let you know that it's got the grease under pressure, which is what you want. 3 psi, not much, just enough to keep any water or dust physically out of that area and to protect your bearings a lot better than just, you know, having them packed and, you know, there's kind of loose areas in there that, you know, have space in them. You want it all to be solid grease and no space or air or water or anything in there to contaminate your bearings. So that's it. That's the finished product, and I'm really happy with it. There may be 1 or 2 things that I might do yet, but I'm really satisfied with this. I think it's a great trailer, a great start with the Harbor Freight frame, and you can build it out with some features that really allow you to use this thing for a multitude of different utility stuff, hauling all kinds of things, whatever you might need. And that's it. Hope that the videos have been helpful, and enjoy your trailers.